Today, Gordon is visiting Allen's of Mayfair, one of the oldest butchers in London. Allen's supply meat and game to professional chefs, as well as to home cooks who value the finest produce.
Here we're with Allen's the butcher, and this is Bob, one of the most important butchers in London.
Hopefully.
Knows everything from the nose right back to the tail.
That's right.
Here we've got is this Aberdeen?
This is all Aberdeen Angus.
Aberdeen Angus.
We only deal with 3 Scottish companies right now.
Ready. And this is a fillet taken from the
actual
strip loin?
Rump and loin.
Rump and loin.
Yeah. So you've got the rump part there, you've got a bit of skirt, and then you've got the short fillet.
It's got some stunning marble through there already, and it's a lovely colour. And how long's that been hanging now, Bob? How long has that been?
I've took this one out of a fresh one.
Right.
It's only been hanging about 4 days.
Ready.
You know, if you ordered it, you wouldn't be getting this.
No.
You'd be getting one that's a lot blacker,
darker.
You know.
And do you strip it right down before you hang it, or do you hang it like that?
No, we hang it like that and then we strip it down.
Okay.
Then you're trimming it twice.
Sure.
And then it's basically going to cost you a lot more.
Sure.
So we strip them out like that.
So you're just going to go through and give us a quick demonstration of how to...
See, we have to... This is what we call the chain. Cut all this off. Because what we try and do is take every ounce of fat off.
Yep.
So all you get is pure meat. See, this goes into stewing or mince.
Mince, right. You know, my mother-in-law's a very good customer of here as well.
Yes, Mrs. Hutchinson across the road.
Greta. And she buys, I mean, you haven't got far to deliver.
No, and everyone always tries to grab it because she always gives them a £2 tip.
A £2 tip, seriously?
£2 tip, yeah, every time, and it's only across the road.
She leaves you more than she leaves us in the restaurant.
Yeah, you're related though, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose because we're related, I married a daughter, she thinks I don't have to give her a tip. So that's the top end of the rump?
Yeah, this is the off the rump. You'd cut it there. I'll cut it afterwards and show you.
Right. So that's like an extended part of the chain. You don't take that out, do you? No, just leave that in there.
No, that's all part of the rump.
Because this is one of the longest established butchers.
I think I know we're the oldest in London.
Yeah.
More than likely the whole country. I'm not really absolutely sure.
And it's a family-orientated business.
Yeah, it's certainly one man owned.
Ready. I think the nice thing about the butchers here, especially on the customer feedback, is you actually come in and see the butchers working. Yeah, we don't... Trimming.
We do it all to order. Unless they give an order over the phone, if they come in, everything's done in front of them.
Ready.
Nothing's on trays already cut. You know, like you do in the supermarket, getting on a...
No, all pre-packed.
All pre-packed. You can see the top of it, you can't see what's underneath.
Just as most chefs are finishing work and going home, the butchers who supply them are getting up to begin their long, hard day's work.
Well, I come in at 2:30 in the morning.
You start at 2:30?
Yeah.
And what time do you finish?
All depends. If we're quiet, I can finish at 12. If we're not, 4 o'clock.
Ready.
All depends.
Good. So here you've stripped off all the sinew on the outside.
Just strip everything off.
And so that's ready now to cut into wonderful fillet steaks, and that you'd serve cut off separate for the rump.
Yeah. See, when they come in the action shop, we like to just cut like that, and that's beautiful. What they actually have.
That's beautiful.
And then you've got the head, Chateaubriand or head fillet.
Yeah, you see, that's what we look for more than anything on the inside, is these wonderful marbles of fat inside as it starts to roast. Yeah, the fat inside
that melts.
Will disintegrate
makes it more tender.
Yeah, tenderise the meat as it's roasting. This is exactly what we're looking for. There's very few butchers in London that can actually cater for both markets, a domestic market like housewives, and attend the attention to detail of many chefs in this country. This has been trimmed. It's now ready for cutting into tornadoes. And the most exciting thing about this is the marble of fat that is layered throughout. So whilst we're roasting or sautéing or grilling these particular fillet steaks, the marble inside will start to relax, disintegrate, adding a lot of texture and making this whole fillet very, very tender. to eat incredibly pink. I prefer eating it pink, of course. Even if you get this medium, it'll still be very tender because of the labelling and the amount of fat content that renders through the fillet as it cooks. This is the opposite to what you find in the supermarket, as you've just rightly said.
Well, what you buy from the supermarket is basically killed, put on the shelf.
Yeah.
So it's had no time to relax or anything. So the odds are you're going to, unless you keep it in your own fridge for a few days, it's going to be tough.
But the normal housewife going into the supermarket buying a fillet steak would not think about hanging.
Well, no, and they'd have the chain on, silver skin on the top.
Yeah, and I don't think. Yeah, and I don't think it would be as trimmed as nice as this, and there'd be a lot of this waste still left on.
Chain still left on. The silver skin, what I took off, that's still left on.
Which of course they're paying for, so they're actually paying for this.
Yeah. Basically, by the time you trim it back, there's not much difference in our prices to
no, definitely not. But I mean, I don't think in the supermarkets they'll be to the standard of Aberdeen Angus with that kind of marbling and that standard. And so it goes back down to this local butcher scenario as opposed to having a huge.
It goes back to you get what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gordon grew up in Scotland, a country renowned the world over for the superb quality of its produce.
You've got an amazing reputation for good food in Scotland. It's funny now when you think this far down the line, when we've got, I'd say, nearly 85% of my produce that arrives in the morning could actually come from Scotland. Lobsters, salmon, scallops, oysters, herrings, sea bass, girole. They've actually even started locating truffles in Scotland, would you believe? Now, when the local boys find out that they're actually walking on top of little black truffles situated, 2 feet under the ground, then all the salmon poachers will change their mind and start poaching truffles, especially when they're selling at £1,200 a kilo. So, yeah, I mean, there's lots of interesting memories, but I suppose, I was always a very sort of strong and sort of fitness fanatic at a young age, so I had a very healthy appetite always, and loved sort of home cooking. I just remember, I suppose, early childhood memories was eating lots of bread, constantly eating lots of bread, and home made bread. And there was a time where I can remember a bread strike or some form of shortage, and that's where all mums then started making their own. And I suppose that's how mum's cooking skills started. She used to make this sort of ham hock soup, like this pea and ham soup, which was delicious. But she used to make tons of this stuff, and we used to have it for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. That was nice. And I think one of the most important things she ever made, and one of the best dishes, was a bread and butter pudding. Preparing all their school stuff whilst Dad was out at work. I mean, it must have been a hard slog. And she was working at the same time. So, I just imagine now when you think back of it, Christ, you take things for granted. Then you track back and you start to, you don't feel guilty, but you think, God, you've got to take your hat off in a big way. Normality is at home, and we come out of a very fast, furious, working life here, and going down with Tana and taking the dog for a walk on the beach, and no one knows you, and no one's pestering you. There's no phones, there's no faxes. Put your feet back on the ground, and it almost helps you to sort of progress in a way because you're slowing down. And I find doing that, once every 3 months. Now, let's scallops ham. Fillet steak with a lovely cream sauce. This fillet is Aberdeen Angus, one of my favourite cuts. And this is been trimmed. We've removed all the excess fat, beautifully seasoned. Roll it in the season. Be generous with the seasoning, because what you fail to realise, of course, halfway through the cooking process, when we roast these particular fillet steaks, we lose a lot of this salt and pepper. So be generous. Don't be scared. Nicely seasoned. Into a pan. I'm going to pan roast these fillet steaks. Sometimes we're always under the interpretation roasting takes place in the oven, but no, we have a very intense heat on top. They're going to be roasted in a non-stick pan, beautifully coloured and served pink, of course. Okay, into the pan. Touch of oil. Get the oil nice and hot. Don't need a great deal, of course, because don't forget it's a non-stick pan. And then fillet steak into the side, beautifully coloured. And then, once they're standing up in the side, a few knobs of butter, like so, just to give it that extra colour. And I stand the fillet steak at the side because we want to use this rim of the pan to keep the steak upright. So it's almost just like a leaning post really to prevent the steaks from falling over and looking slightly sloppy. So over and establish a really nice colour all around. Keep that pan nice and hot. And this is called pan roasting. It's taking place on top of the stove, and because it's such a gentle, delicate cut of meat, it doesn't need to go into the oven for 10-15 minutes. Just into the centre again, bring up the temperature. If I was cooking 7 or 8 fillet steaks, then what I would do, I'd seal them off on top of the stove, like so, get them beautifully coloured all around, and then put them onto a tray in an oven. It's very easy to do this on top now because we're only serving 2 portions. But if you've got a large party and there's 10 or 12 of you having lunch, then seal them off on top of the stove. Get them beautifully coloured, take them out, put them onto a butter paper, and then put them into your oven. If you're having a large Sunday lunch and there's 12 of you at the table, these fillet steaks can be cooked and sealed off in the morning. Sounds rather strange, but they can be sealed around like we're doing now, and then flash through the oven as you actually need them, 8 to 10 minutes before you need them, at a very hot temperature. The most important thing about the fillet is lined with fat. It's marbled throughout, so therefore it's not going to go dry because it's wonderful lining of marble throughout the fillet. Turning around all the time, getting that nice even colour, which is important. And you can see we've put half butter and half oil. And the reason we've done that, of course, is to prevent the butter from burning. If we just use butter, then it'll go black, it'll be graining, it will become brown and slightly bitter. So half oil, half butter. Roll the fillets in the pan just to get that nice even colour. And then back on top again. And just tuck to the side. Don't be scared to baste your fillet, creating this nice froth of the butter which helps to cook the fillet steaks on top. Because it's so delicate and so fine inside, you have to frequently turn the fillets in order to ensure that they're evenly cooked. So just turning over like so, and then just left on the side to continue cooking slowly. Fillet steak, that size, keeping it nice and pink, will cook between 7 and 8 minutes, maximum. Nicely spooned over like so. Right, for the sauce. Mushroom sauce. Here we've got some trompette mushrooms into the pan, centre of the stove, and just like so. I'm going to saute those off first because they hold the most water. I haven't put any butter in there yet, nothing at all. Just going to lightly season them, and then I'm going to leave them like that for 30 seconds to extract that water out there before I put my butter in. That's important. If I put my butter in first, then we're going to cause this water soggy flavour. I want the water out first, and then I'm going to put my knob of butter in. It's almost like drying a mushroom. That's what we're doing. As you can see, we haven't done anything yet, but they're already starting to cook and the water's coming out, which is exactly what we want. Right, now it's time for your butter. Small knob of butter. Cook very, very quickly, and then out onto the tray. And we're just going to put them on that tray on the paper to cool down and to extract any excess water. Okay, again with the chanterelles, bring your pan back up to the temperature, get it smoking again. Chanterelles into the pan. Again, no butter. Extract that water out of there first. Generous on the seasoning. You can hear the water coming out now. Nicely seasoned. Now it's time for your butter. Again, out. Don't worry about those few sticking like that, that's quite normal. I'd rather them stick like that and get all the water out than not stick at all. So, chanterelle, trompette, mushrooms. And then finally, your champignon de Paris. Again, no butter. Into the pan. Nicely seasoned. Now, they're becoming nice and pink. They're ready to come out. The final glaze. I'm going to take them out and leave them on just to rest on the side like so, because it's important that they have time now to relax. Leave the fillet steaks to rest for about 4 to 5 minutes. Let the temperature cool down and let the meat itself relax in order to keep this nice, tender pinkness in the centre. Right. Out. Just on there. Now, in here, I haven't burnt the pan, it hasn't scorched, and I'm not going to wash that, and you'll see why, because that is the base for my sauce. All that flavour's there. I don't want to ruin that, because that there is going to come off, it's going to impart flavour into the sauce, and the most important part is don't wash that pan. Pan into the centre of the stove, butter, your garlic, we call this chemise. We're going to run the garlic around the pan. Shallots in. A few black peppercorns to give it some bite, nicely crushed. Sprinkled in. Back into the heat. We're going to just deglaze the pan with a touch of cognac. Once the cognac's in, it's important to reduce that down to deglaze the pan. As you can see, the bottom of the pan now has become nice and clean. Got all those flavours, all those juices in there, and we're just going to moisten that with a touch of chicken stock. 2 or 3 ladles of chicken stock. Again, run it round your pan, clean your pan, remove all those bits of mushroom at the bottom, and back into the centre, and just left to reduce down. Again, we'll reduce that down by half to get this nice syrup, finish it with cream, and then add our mushrooms back to that. Right, now let's come down to a beautiful syrup. The most important part first, before you forget, take the garlic out. Cream in, and then just gently mix that around and just bring it very, very carefully back up to the boil. This is nice, dark, creamy textured sauce, which is full of flavour. Nothing's caught, nothing's been burnt. We're going to place the mushrooms back inside the sauce, and then we're going to coat our fillet steak, which has now been rested, inside the cream mushroom sauce. So it's up to the bowl like that. And then very carefully add your mushrooms. First your champignon de Paris, mix them round, your trompette, and then finally your beautiful, small, nice chanterelle mushrooms. Create the seasoning. there's two ways of doing this. You can actually put your fillet steaks through the oven to reheat, lightly flash them under the salamander. I prefer personally to indulge and stick those fillet steaks inside that delicious, thick, wonderful, creamy sauce. In like so, and then just nappe and coat the fillet steaks. And this is going to help to reheat the steaks and, most important, impart this lovely mushroom flavour. Finally, as always, correct the seasoning, carefully on the pepper, and then just before serving, some beautiful chopped chervil, and then finally some wonderful, delicious chopped chives. Generous on the chives because it gives that nice onion flavour to cut the richness of the cream, and ready for the exciting part to serve. This is nice to be served with a salad, a nice rocket and parmesan salad, maybe a nice fresh tomato and shallot salad, something clean, something that can easily wash this down. Fillet steak out, it's still nice and tender, it's very pink, and then just this beautiful creamy sauce around the outside. Generous on the cream, it's full of flavour. The steak is nice and pink, and then just finally a little glaze on top. And there we have Aberdeen Angus fillet steak with mushrooms a la creme.
Gordon has worked with Marcus Wareing for a number of years, and they'll shortly open a new restaurant together in London's West End. Today they're working on Marcus's new menu, which will be tested and tasted until it's perfect.
That's a nice colour, Marcus. Can I taste this one?
Yeah. This is one with from Gavroche, just a vanilla cream, which is just boiled cream, vanilla, sugar, essence, and rum inside. This is the other one that I was telling you about.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Very smooth.
This is a completely different texture, as you can see.
I like that.
A bit more difficult to get out.
Yep.
You can taste it reminds me of a bit sort of chocolate orangey sort of thing, which is not really what I was looking at. Sour cream coming through. You can't quite taste the chocolate in that, can you? The coffee.
No, I'm just. But the sour cream is very, very different.
That's more. That's the traditional classic panettone.
That's very nice.
That's with a beautiful coffee aroma, which is like essence, which is it's really thick syrup. It's different to what you've got. It's one he brought me yesterday.
Ready?
Yeah.